Today on the American Truck Podcast, we talk about all of the Switch's features, as well as our thoughts and opinions on the new console. And The Sims 4 has finally gotten toddlers. Hello and welcome to the Nintendo Switch Podcast with Andrew C.
And Jefferson B.
Help! I'm still down here. I just got the tape off my mouth. Help!
And Freelance Gamer. Jeff, can you go down there and quiet him?
I would, but
I want to be silenced.
I'm overly excited about the Nintendo Switch right now, so I'm actually kind of like on my ceiling. I'm so excited.
I thought Jim escaped last week.
He retired, but didn't you get the order?
You guys just put duct tape over my mouth.
Andy, I could have sworn we
Still
invoiced for
hungry.
those ninjas.
I could have sworn he ran away.
I don't know.
He wasn't here last week, so...
Well, true.
You have
Well, he
I don't
didn't
know.
say much
Like-
last week, at least. One of the two.
I don't know how he
That's
got
gonna be 2
back in there.
weeks.
I mean, I don't...
Some food.
who
Jeff.
knows?
Sort of
I
starving.
think Jim's trespassing in your house now. This is a problem.
I think he might
Oh.
be.
Still
you know-
tied to the chair.
I think we should call the cops.
Perhaps.
You know, that would be a very obscure case, is if Jim here is purposely breaking into your house, then tying himself to a chair, and then trying to get you arrested for kidnapping him.
Would that be one of those syndromes where like you enjoy your captivity?
It wouldn't really be
Stockholm
Stockholm Syndrome necessarily. It's more like he's trying to get you arrested for something he didn't do.
Oh, fair enough. It's just a bit
Entrapment.
of tomfoolery there. I guess speaking of some tomfoolery, do we want to just dive right into our main dish topic of today?
Sure. I like dishes.
I can use a dish of food.
Okay. Soon-ish.
TM.
Blizzard soon.
Blizzard soon.
Oh, Blizzard. Oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing that's definitely not soon right now is Nintendo's Switch event, which was this past week, and oh my goodness, I want it so bad, and I want it now. I do.
Did
It's
you
so
pre-order it?
good. I'm so excited. We launched the event. This was midnight my time. Freelance, did you get a chance to catch it live?
I caught a lot of it after. I caught a little bit of it live, but
It was. I want to say it was 9 p.m. your time, because it was occurring at about.
there's only one thing I cared about, and we'll get to that later.
The big thing was that it was occurring in the mid-afternoon Japan local time. We opened up with one of the Nintendo representatives describing to us all the big details we really did want to know right off the bat, which was when it was coming out and how much it was going to cost. And we currently have a release date set for March 3rd, which is just a few short weeks away from yours truly's birthday. So happy birthday to me. Here's a Nintendo Switch. So it's going to cost $299 US. And we, I mean, that's kind of a big thing for me. A lot of people are touting that this is a bit high of a price. I'm not so sure that I agree. Do we have any thoughts on, just before we go further deeper into the woods and down the rabbit hole? What do we think?
I think it's a bit high of a price because of something we can touch on in a second, which is that the accessories are a bit expensive.
Yeah, for
would
the
agree.
accessory prices, it seems it's a bit steep from that point of view.
Yeah,
You know, like,
and
if
I mean,
the-
I don't know about cost of materials. I don't know what's going into this.
Right,
like,
right.
but
All
nuts and
things
bolts wise?
considered, but like if the controllers and everything were cheaper, then this would be a very appropriate price, in my opinion. Or if it
Yeah,
came
and-
with more accessories bundled.
Yeah, I would say if it was bundled with 1-2 Switch, like a bundled game of some kind. I think
Yeah,
is the
kind of
big
like what
thing.
they did with the Wii.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
I
would
think that
agree.
would be
Bundled game.
acceptable too.
And then
Yeah.
I could justify the price because, as we'll get to here in a minute, a lot of these games are coming out at full-blown AAA pricing, which is not a bad thing. It's a thing. It's a thing that
Right.
they're doing. And I don't know if that's Nintendo. I know that all of the Nintendo proprietary titles are launching at that price. But we don't know yet about eShop titles, which I have some interesting updates actually to last week's talk about the online services and retro game compatibility. We can get there in just a second. But yeah, I feel like the price is a bit steep. If everything works like they say it's going to work, it might be worth it.
If it works at optimal.
Exactly. If it works like it was demoed, totally justified. I can back that horse.
Yeah, if it has the 2.5-hour battery life, then
we're in totally
no back at a horse.
Yeah, but let's talk about that a little bit. Some of the hardware that we saw revealed. Biggest thing under the hood, 0 region locking will be a part of this console, which
I really
I didn't know was a problem.
Oh, it's always been a
I knew it was a problem for Sony consoles, but I did not know that was a Nintendo problem.
Yeah,
I'll be honest,
it's been a
problem
since the NES, and it's been a problem on even the Xbox, the PlayStation. Every console has had a region lock.
So what this does mean, for those of you who are not necessarily savvy to the region lock, is most games, when they come out in a specific region, are locked to that region. Originally, this was more so that TV compatibility and gaming markets could be kind of curved and controlled, but nowadays we live in such a connected society, and Amazon.com is such a wonderful thing that we don't need that anymore.
It also allowed for them to put a game out in one country and then delay its release in another country. A good example would be the Persona games.
Right, and that's what I mean about it allows them to curve the game market to bend to what they want.
And also ramp up pricing. But yeah,
exactly. Which, yeah, import and VAT taxes. That's an economics thing. I'm not savvy on that side of things, but I do know that the Switch is coming region free, which is really awesome, especially for people who travel internationally or are multilingual, or in my case, just really like obscure Japanese games. I mean, yeah, what can I say about it? If you can somehow find 7 of your best friends to also purchase the Nintendo Switch, you will be able to do 8-player local multiplayer, up to that on supported titles, of course. And that would be, I guess, over some sort of ad hoc network, but that's cool. And we've got 32 gigs of onboard storage, which is actually, that's news to me, which I'm excited for. It also does have a micro SD card, which I am told can take up to a 2 terabyte micro SD card, which doesn't actually exist yet. But it is formatted in such a way to where storage should not be a concern, because flash storage is so stupid cheap these days.
I also was reading something that citation needed, that the SSD in the Switch will be upgradable to a 256 at some point in the future.
Where'd
I think it's an EX version. I saw it on IGN. A coworker linked it to me. I do not have that link on me.
That's okay. I wouldn't be surprised. The Switch to me right now seems very sealed, but if they release like an LL Switch, that would be interesting. And maybe we can touch on that at the end as to like what this means for the convergence of mobile and console. But we'll touch on we'll go to that end later. I do want to touch on battery life. One of the interesting things that Freelance brought up was we have a range of battery life. This is most likely because of a custom graphics processor chip that is throttling its power requirements based on the game that you're playing. So you can get anywhere from about 2.5 to about 6.5 hours of battery life, which is a huge battery life. But as a benchmark, we did get the Zelda Breath of the Wild on a fresh, not well-used battery should get you about 3 hours of playtime. To that end, though, the connector, the charging connector, is no longer this like proprietary Nintendo connector, but is instead a standardized USB Type-C reversible connector, and confirmed by Nintendo will be compatible with USB battery packs. Hello, Nyko, if you are listening. Nyko, the famous accessory manufacturer for all of those fun little foam golf club heads for the Wii. This is perfect. I am so pleased with the fact that now I can play and charge using a very standard piece of hardware. So any comments on just the hardware side of things, some of the raw specs that we've got?
One of the things I saw...
I don't think a raw chicken.
Quiet, Jim. One of the things I saw in one of the promo images was a group of people playing on the Switch, playing Mario Kart, and it was
and they were all split screened. Yeah, that
so
was
I really hope
that was bad PR.
Hope that is a thing that goes away, or as an option to like a changeable option where you can see split screen or you can see only your screen, because with it only being a 6.5, like 6.2 inch screen, it's kind of not big enough for that many players.
It's true, and it is only 720p, so it's not like you're getting that pixel density. I think the big thing for that is I don't know if that's a software or a hardware thing.
Right.
Because like, is it genuinely registering you as a player with a and bouncing you ad hoc off of every node in the local party, or are you instead just basically sharing the game experience? So, and that'll depend, I guess, like, do your friends have the same game? Do you not have the same game? Much like we had, the DS was great about this, where if your friend had a game, you could both play like a mini game that your friend would download to their DS
or
system.
the full game. Basically, Mario Kart was a good example of that. If you had one copy of it, up to 8 people could play with you just by connecting.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I would love that to be a thing, but again, that's on software side, which is kind of like this weird thing where it's like this is a beautiful piece of hardware, but I don't know what Nintendo the software side is doing, and I'm thoroughly interested, especially things like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I'm told is going to be absolutely awesome. Like, it's going to be one of those titles that you play because it's going to be gorgeous. Speaking of that, we do have a slew of confirmed titles. Some first-party titles that we're getting from Nintendo is obviously Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. That is a launch title that is coming out. I know I'm getting it, especially in
that
the
actually
special
looks
edition.
like a good game.
The special edition comes with some really nice stuff, like a full-blown map, a CD of the game audio, I think an art book, and you totally just ran into me. You jerkface.
Love that.
You jerkface. But the big thing that I was going to talk about with the Breath of the Wild special edition is it's got a nice carrying case with it, because that is like my day 2 purchase of this thing, is making sure that I have an adequate travel solution for when I go over to my friend's house and like want to play with them, because this console, stop running into me. This console is meant to be shared. It's a sharing experience. That's why we have the Joy-Con controllers that can be pulled off.
My one problem with the Joy-Cons, in a sense, is that if you can split it so that each person has one of the 2 Joy-Cons. I dislike that if you wanted to use the full Joy-Con controller set, like say you wanted to have like 4 sets of it, each controller set, like dual, is $80, and then if you want to have the battery pack for it, that's another $30.
When you say you're talking about the battery,
the connector.
Yeah, the Joy-Con, the dock,
Connector.
not the dock, but like the
Joy-Con
square
connector
controller.
bit.
You're not talking about the Pro controller either, which is a different thing.
Another one.
Yeah,
$80.
it's a different. Which, and that's one of those things. But at the same time, like, I mean, when you've got everything, like, these are feature-packed controllers. This is not a Bluetooth keyboard here.
No, I agree, but $110 for a controller, if you're getting the pack, is steep.
It's steep.
Steep.
It's incredibly steep. I would agree.
Anything that comes with this console is that everything is steep.
Yeah, it's buy-in. You buy in, and that comes as part of the thing, as part of the deal. My hope is that there will be third-party. I actually genuinely want third-party accessories to come out with this thing. Third-party Joy-Con would be really nice. You know,
that could be a solution that maybe remedies this. Yeah,
that might not have HD rumble and might not have the camera sensor on it, but might be able to allow me to, play an 8-player match of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and not break the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I can totally see that happening. I would love to. But if I can jump back into games, we were talking about the available titles. First party, we've got 1-2 Switch, which is kind of like your Wii Sports party game type situation. We've got ARMS, which is a new. The way that I heard it described to me was shooter boxing. It's got the melee combat of boxing, but this like shooter
first
aspect
person?
to it. Over the shoulder, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, third person over the shoulder. Really, it's a hard concept to explain unless you watch the trailer. Just go and watch the trailer. It makes sense at that point. But yeah, really fantastic title. Can't wait to see that in the summer. We're also getting Splatoon 2, or Splatoon, as I hope people start calling it. That's also a summer launch title. A lot of summer launch titles. We really only have about half a dozen or so launch titles.
This hat is winking at me. Why is this hat winking at me?
Oh, that's right. Jim is mentioning Super Mario Odyssey, which is a bizarre take on Mario games. Mario's going to be coming into the real world, and that'll be coming in the winter/holiday season of 2017.
So this is the part I'm hugely disappointed in.
What do you got?
So for me, just looking at that trailer, one, it reminded me of the original Xbox days where we tried to make things hip and cool that don't need to be hip and cool.
Which trailer are you
was
referring to?
beatboxing in the trailer at one point for that game. The one
Oh,
that
you're
I
talking
saw.
about Odyssey?
Yeah, for Odyssey.
Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. I'm tracking
That was a little like, what's going on here? And then the other thing is, instead of sticking to the standard, I wouldn't say standard. To innovate's not a bad thing, but watching it where it was Mario in a fairly realistic world, to me looked like Grand Theft Auto 5 had a mod where you ran around as Mario.
Yeah, and my hope as that
Fun
trailer
fact,
is
someone
like,
actually
development
made.
footage. Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. My hope is that this is like developer footage, like it's a tech demo and isn't actually like a render of the game quite yet. Because I mean, we're like 9 months out, dude. We've got time.
I agree, but also, why does the hat have eyes? This is a problem I have with a lot of games. It's not just this one. I don't like it when you take something that exists in the like canonical like universe, and then you decide to make it either like ridiculously more important as a character, or literally from not a character to a thing.
You mean from not a thing to a character, or a thing to a character?
Both.
We're actually like we're making this thing into a character. It is funky. It is super funky.
I'm not a fan of that. Like when a good example would be Halo taking Cortana and turning her from the AI that was with you to this like really important plot point in the series.
Backstory with Cortana.
Dude, I stopped caring because it's like that wasn't, you know, that it feels like you're reaching.
Yeah.
And, like with I saw some cool game mechanics they threw in. I was kind of interested with that. But the overall art of the game looked very disappointing. The backdrop for a lot of the levels looked very disappointing.
I mean, again, it's developer footage. I can't make a judgment call on this.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't think they should be doing even a release idea. Like for me, it's like, okay, we get it. You're coming out with a new console, and you want to be like, here's Mario, here's our front runner, right?
Yeah.
But to be honest, just having Breath of the Wild there would have been fine. Like, I think putting the Mario in there just kind of. Yeah, like,
I guess,
it kind of led me to think, like, looking at it, that, like, this is the way they're going to go. They're going to go this more realistic route. And we already have two consoles that, one cost a decent chunk of money, and this one's going to cost a decent chunk of money. So, okay, it's becoming more similar to its competitors.
Right.
And the games are showing these. It looks like Unreal 4 engine, that 100% on some of the parts. It's like, wait, so we're going away from the artistic, colorful design to this more realistic, but still colorful, which is fair, but much more realistic design. I don't know, man. It's starting to become hard to distinguish.
I agree, and it's weird. It is flat out weird. Maybe I have some third party titles that will entice you. We are getting Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which if this is going to use half a Joy-Con controller, that's a must buy.
That's a Nintendo game?
Apparently.
Then why is it on Steam?
Confirming a port.
Well, so it's a port probably, and not only that, but the game's a bit older. So, but it'll be interesting to see. Okay.
If it's good and it works, and I can pull off the Joy-Con controllers and hand one to a buddy and say, "Let's go," it's going to be a must buy.
There's a lot of controls to that game,
dude.
Yeah.
Xenoverse is only a one-player game.
Is it? There's 0 2-player.
Correct. It's an MMO experience.
Never mind. I was really hoping for a side-scrolling beat 'em up. But okay,
it's an MMO fighting game.
Well, this is very interesting. Then I'm not sure what that's going to entail. Then I don't know. That's kind of weird. But I mean, just to kind of roll down the list, we are getting Minecraft. We are getting EA is working on a FIFA game. That's all we know.
FIFA exclamation mark.
Yeah.
Not FIFA 17.
Yeah.
FIFA.
It is not. It's not like
not
FIFA
confirmed FIFA 17.
We're pretty sure they're going to be playing football. That's about it. And that's football with a U.
Soccer?
Football with a U, like a U and an umlaut over it.
Football.
Yeah. Yes, football. We are okay. So Bethesda has confirmed so far that they are doing something with, like, they are working hard to make Skyrim a thing. We saw it in the trailer. We've seen it. We've known about it. I'm excited. If the price is right, I might just buy it to say I have Skyrim on the Switch.
I'm curious if it's going to be PS3, PS4, or PC quality.
I
It's
don't
gonna be
know.
Nintendo quality, so poop.
Yeah, it could very well. Or I would say it would at least be equal or higher to the PlayStation 3 quality.
I would hope that
they've
they've had so much time refining this code that they're able to tune down. They're able
Now,
to
curious enough is what's the battery life playing it?
Poop.
I
Kicker.
don't know. I mean, if Breath of the Wild is giving us 3 hours, I think it's safe to assume that I could get 3 hours of Skyrim.
I don't know, man. Grass physics.
Or
Yeah,
Shit's
them
OP.
grass physics right there.
yeah, if you turn, I don't know if they're going to include the grass physics, man.
Well, then
or
we're getting PlayStation
I just
3
get
quality.
I just get an external battery pack and I don't worry about it.
True.
I mean, and it could be any external battery pack your little heart desires.
True.
And any USB Type-C cable that your little heart desires.
I mean, there's
It's
like
not
4 of those.
proprietary anymore. Now Anchor makes a really nice one, and so does Amazon Basics.
I would only
What more do you need?
enjoy Breath of the Wild if it's a level-based game, though, like leveling up.
Level base game.
I don't actually know if I've seen any footage of a level up system involved.
Because having an open world is fine and all, but it's no point in exploring if your character doesn't grow.
That's a solid point. That is a solid point. I think one of the interesting things that I saw about Breath of the Wild gameplay was kind of similar to Skyrim, where like if you make a wrong turn, frost giants are around the corner and you will get wrecked. That's a very real possibility.
At least in Skyrim, you can level up and actually take on areas. If it's a situation where it's like, oh, you can just go to the end of the game, and if you're good enough, you can just beat it within a couple minutes.
True. I totally see your point, and I think I would like for the game to almost limit itself to stretch it, especially after dropping anywhere between $60 and $120 to get varying. There's like 3 tiers of special edition. There's like the game edition, the special edition, and then there's the master edition, which includes a nice little statue of something from, I think it's a Master Sword, a really nice like vinyl Master Sword figure. Anyway, we are getting a bunch of titles throughout 2017. There's not a whole lot of launch that's going into it. The big thing that we are getting though that is enticing if you are on the fence about going and pre-ordering or just getting it near launch day, is Nintendo's online service. And I'm going to kind of deviate from the show notes here for a second to kind of make some clarifications and corrections to previous podcast statements that we made. Because Freelance, I know you expressed some concern about backwards compatibility with retro games. And I can confirm, based on the event, that Nintendo is launching an online service, and the best way that I can describe it is it's like PlayStation Plus.
Does it cost money?
Yes.
It will later. They just said they said it will be free until fall, and then that's all they said.
Yeah, not a
Like I said, it's like PlayStation Plus.
No, I'm good.
Well, hear me out.
I'm not a fan of any kind of game online service that I have to pay money for, so I can use the console that I already own.
We've paid for Xbox Live. We've paid PlayStation Plus.
I've paid for it in the past.
That's also
for
shitty.
a very short time, and I have not since.
Here, at least hear me out for information's sake to explain how this is working. So, we don't know that this is going to be required for online play. We have no confirmation of this. It might be on a title by title basis.
Carry on.
I don't know, but what I do know is that you are given every month a free retro title that is being outfitted with new, it's being outfitted specifically for online play. What that means is up to, I think, on a title by title basis, but I can totally see like online leaderboards in the original Donkey Kong.
No need for
Or various things like that. They're tweaking games.
So my thing when it comes to backwards compatible isn't necessarily that. That's the problem is like that PlayStation Plus don't meet that to me. To me it's more if you have a physical copy of a game from a previous console, it should work on the next gen console.
Oh, you're talking about single generation backwards compatibility.
Well, no, I mean like I wish it was way more than that, but as long as it's
There's
within
no
the same
reason that the Xbox One doesn't have backwards compatibility with all of
With
the
the original
Xbox
Xbox
360 games, and they have to actually go and slowly re-release titles one by one, which you can then play.
Or PlayStation, which is still using a similar medium to the PlayStation 3, right, is re-releasing it through PlayStation Plus, which is nice, but you still have to be paying for a service for games you may already have. I really disagree with that as a thing.
I can see that. I don't know if this is
before, so we do not need to get into this any further.
But at least, at the very least, we are going to be seeing some more classical Nintendo games returning. Like I said, no idea what this is going to look like.
Here's the skinny on the rest of the Switch details. If you need an extra dock for some reason, so that way you get a 2-parent household where you gotta go to your mom's house 1 week, dad's at the other. They're gonna cost you $90 per dock. So if you need more, again, similar with the pricing of all this stuff, 1/2 of a Joy-Con is $50, whereas both Joy-Cons are $80. The wireless Pro controller, it's the just regular standard controller, kind of like a 360 controller. That's $70, and of course, we said most of your launch titles are going to be roughly $60. There is some variability, and that's going to depend on developers. But that is all for the Switch. I'm sure we'll talk about it more as we get closer to the launch, but that is a pretty good long list of everything that goes into it. But to switch gears a little bit, yes,
Clever.
The Sims 4. You might be asking, why are we talking about a game that's 2 years old? Well, just got toddlers 2 years later. If you remember, when the game launched, it came with no pools and no toddlers. They said that they, for some reason, couldn't make them fit into the time scale of releasing the game back then, and 2 years later is apparently how long it takes to develop toddlers into a game, which is about how long it takes to develop toddlers in real life. So
the irony is
the irony is high. So there's that. If you are a Sims player, you will get toddlers for free. You do not need DLC in order to get that, which is reassuring.
Have they yet made pools?
Pools
available?
are also in the game. Those came about 1.5 years ago.
Oh wow!
So yeah, and those were also a free addition. There is also a new vampire DLC if you're into vampires and DLC.
If you're into that sort of thing, that thing being DLC.
Exactly. One more thing here, TwitchCon, of course, long favorited of cons, and last year we said it was going to be moving. There was no information about where it was going to be moving at the time. They just said that it was going to not be in San Francisco anymore. We found out now it's going to move to Long Beach this year. Apparently it might be moving from place to place, from year to year. This year, Long Beach is the city of choice. And that's going to be October 20th through the 22nd. Tickets are not yet available, but you can get special pricing for hotels if you're interested in going before the tickets come available. So if you are a con goer, especially TwitchCon, if you've gone before, you might want to check this one out, of course, again, and see what's going on this year. But I believe that is it for today. Anyone else have any closing remarks?
I still want that chicken.
I still want that Switch.
We have no chicken, Jim. We're all chickened out.
Do we have a Switch?
We have no Switches.
That's unfortunate.
Which, if you haven't pre-ordered your Switch already, you ain't getting a Switch till like March. And by March is when it comes out. Of 2018.
Well, we'll see about that.
Because
you'll get that in the same amount of time that it took the Sims to get toddlers.
That's right, exactly. And on that bombshell, it is time then. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mostly Switch podcast. If you like this, make sure you hit that like button down below. Perhaps also leave a comment about your favorite thing about the Switch, whether you want a Switch, do you not want a Switch, let us know down below. And of course, subscribe, and we'll get these great videos to you every week. And we'll see you in the next one.